Greetings, gentle readers, and welcome once again to the vast and ominous comic book vault. I'm Captain Logan. Today, we're going to talk about action figures. No, we're not going to be reviewing figures. Today, we're going to talk about an action figure series that this comic book series was based on called Total Justice. This is one of the figures in question. These came out in 1996, and I had a number of these. I had the Darkseid, and the Flash, and the Aquaman, and maybe a couple of others. What was goofy about these figures is that they came with an armor that you could put on several of their body parts. Some of them you could put them on their arms and their legs, others they went on different places, and what was nice about them is that unlike a lot of goofy gimmicky figures where they felt the need to add some weird twist gimmick thing to the figure to sell it, if you took all the armor off, it looked like just the normal superhero. Now, it's not a great figure because it doesn't bend at the armor, at the elbows or legs, but I'm not going to be reviewing the figure. As I said, I'm just going to review the comic book series. Now, I recently realized that this series existed going through some recent acquisitions and was flabbergasted to find out that there was a 3-issue Total Justice comic book series. This was written by Christopher Priest and drawn by Raymond Bernardo. So, people I don't know, which is okay, because the artwork and the writing is not real great, naturally, considering what it is, and, but interestingly, the inker is Dick Giordano, so, he's come a long way. This series basically exists to sell action figures, and it does it by coming up with what it seems to think is a brilliant reason for them to have this goofy armor, which is basically an armor that was created by Martian Manhunter and Blue Beetle in order to keep superheroes from losing their powers on this strange island. It seems to be the opposite of the island on Lost. Instead of gaining all of your motor control or what have you back if you were really ill, you actually lose your superpowers when you're around it. And so Martian Manhunter and Blue Beetle seem to very quickly come up with this thing called fractal armor, which somehow or rather, in a very unexplained way, surprisingly unexplained considering how many words they use to explain it, it taps into your brain and it very generically enhances the user. Whatever it is that you need, depending on whoever you are as a superhero, it gives to you, and so it approximates your powers if you lose them. Could be kind of an interesting idea if it A, didn't look ultra goofy, and if B, Batman and Robin didn't both use it. So, Flash and Aquaman and a few other heroes are around this island, and they lose their powers. Everybody but Aquaman. And we actually find that Aquaman loses just bits of his powers because some of them are inherent to his makeup. They weren't things that he got later, like Flash getting struck by lightning. And so they develop this fractal armor to approximate their powers so that they can go back to the island and investigate. Robin winds up there on accident because Dick Grayson is on a boat cruise with, or not Dick Grayson, I'm sorry, this would be, this is 96, so this would of course be Tim Drake. And he's on a boat cruise with his dad, who has apparently just gotten the island. He's actually about to purchase the island, which sucks for him because Darkseid has control of it. And Darkseid has booby-trapped the island with this stuff that makes you lose your superpowers, and that's apparently what the place that he's operating out of so that he can try to take over the world in one of his normal world domination plots. And there's, as usual, something to do with the anti-life equation, which I didn't exactly get how that factored in. But anyway, whatever. Basically, it's just a big gimmick so that everybody can wear this armor and so that they can sell the action figures of this fantastic armor. What I was really disappointed by was that at no point did Darkseid have a giant claw on his hand that he used to pick people up and throw them places. I have no idea whatsoever why the claw is on the Darkseid figure, because this comic book series left it completely unexplained, and that's the only reason I read it. I wanted to know why Darkseid had a giant claw. So, this has the same problem that a lot of mid-90s comics have, which is a lot of the reason that I'm talking about it, besides the fact that it's just goofy and silly, and I thought people should know that it existed. it is really, really overwritten. There are all kinds of places where they could have said much, much less, much more in fewer words, and very little happens in this to justify how long it takes to read through this. I would much rather, and again, a lot of 90s comics have this problem. This is sillier because it's a tie-in for toys. I have always been a proponent of if the story is fantastic and takes me 15 minutes to read, I would much rather it rely on its visuals to tell part of its story than to explain absolutely everything that's going on and give me every character's thoughts, because a lot of the time their thoughts are kind of superfluous, and it take me 35 to 40 minutes to read one issue. I realize that it's kind of nice sometimes for it to take longer because it feels like you get more bang for your buck, but only if the story warrants it. And of course this doesn't. Like I said, Batman and Robin have this armor, this fractal armor, which is amusing because apparently anyone that wears it, since they don't have superpowers, are enhanced however their brains think they should be. So it gives Batman wings. There's nothing it does for Batman that he doesn't already have the technology to do. It also gives Robin this staff thing. I have no idea what the staff thing does. It doesn't seem to have any super energetic power or anything. It glows and stuff, but it doesn't do anything with it other than smack stuff with it. There is this really amusing part in the third issue with Darkseid. Darkseid doesn't show up until the third issue, and there are these holograms on the island and under the island that apparently Darkseid has installed just to try to get people to take off their armor. He has a lot of foresight. He has no idea that this armor, that these people are going to start wearing this armor, but everybody keeps saying that when they figure out that these are holograms, the holograms are just there to get them to take off the armor. So Darkseid apparently has future premonitions because he can figure out that they're going to wear this armor. And anyway, it makes like Batman see Jason Todd and think that Jason Todd is still there, and of course he doesn't really think that. He figures it out pretty quickly. But then it makes Wally West see the Flash before him, Barry Allen, and it takes Flash a really long time to figure out that it's not really him, and which is kind of sad because it makes Flash a bit pathetic. And then Robin sees Darkseid, and because of these. Because of all these holograms, he thinks that Darkseid is a hologram. So he starts whacking Darkseid in the head with a stick, and then after a while Darkseid just grabs him by the throat. That's really hilarious. There's also this parademon named Mike. The second issue is called Mike, and you open it up, and in big giant letters like, Mike! Like it's extremely dramatic. Mike. And there's this like parademon that runs the island, I guess, for Darkseid, who is obsessed with human culture and is constantly grabbing people who pass by the island just to try to get into intellectual conversations with them, and that's hilarious, and I really enjoyed that part. There's also this really amusing moment with Darkseid in the third issue where he says, "Take me to the being known as Mike," and I think that's really funny. Anyway, it's got its very amusing, silly, goofy moments, and I enjoyed it for the silly, crazy thing that it is. But yeah, it's a tie-in to toys, to try to get you to buy toys, and to try to explain an armor that actually ultimately is a lot goofier of an explanation than simply action figures need silly gimmicks so that kids will want them and buy them. We've come a long way in the action figure world from this, for the most part, I think. And anyway, that's it for Total Justice. Remember that the Comic Book Vault is a vast and wondrous wonderland of comic books that you can donate comic books to if you'd like me to review something specific. If you got anything laying around that you don't want anymore, or you want to see me or Vince or both of us review, send it to the Comic Book Vault via Geekvolution, P.O. Box 14183, Lenexa, Kansas 66285. Thanks as always for watching. I'll be back very soon with another Comic Book Vault and lots of other fun videos coming up very soon. I'm Captain Logan, and happy reading.